You are now locked in and listening to The Issue.
This guy is a franchise quarterback, and no, I don't want to hear any pushback on that.
It feels like a top 10 roster to me. It feels like it can win a championship.
This is The Issue.
Yo, what's up? We are back. It is The Issue. It is Sunday, May 22nd. You're going to be listening to this on Monday, May 23rd. This episode will come out. It is a bonus episode, emergency episode, if you will. The title of the video, I mean, you're watching it. It's the Matt Wood interview. We had him in. We just got done. 33 minutes with Matt. Absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it.
Right. If it was just a normal, we've had him on before, right, for a nice 10, 15 minute. If it was just that, we would have just, put that in our episode. When Matt Wood carves out 33 minutes, we carve out an episode just for him. Yep. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's a give and take. I mean, he was, first of all, so generous with his time. I mean, look, the Big Ten tournament starts Wednesday, right? He's doing a lot of preparation right now, and so for him to carve out a half hour, 45 minutes to talk to us, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better person, and good Lord, does he know what he's talking about? My God.
Oh, my gosh. And you talk about preparing for that Big Ten, playoffs. He talked all about it, so you're going to hear just about all the preparation that goes into to games, to series.
Right, we don't want to give it away. We don't want to give it away. We'll let him do the talking.
Absolutely.
But we appreciate you guys stopping in to listen. Go hit the subscribe on YouTube, on Spotify, wherever you're listening, watching. Subscribe, give it a like. We really appreciate it.
Right.
I'm pretty sure without further ado, I don't really know what else. I mean,
we don't got nothing else to say. We're here for one reason. You guys are here for one reason. Let's go. Here's Matt Wood.
So, Matt, how's it going, man? Season's wrapped up, right? Tournament starts Wednesday. How you feeling? You feeling good?
Yeah, feeling really good. Don't like getting swept the last weekend, but we got in. It's the first time in a long time. It feels really good, and everybody's 0-0 now. So whatever happened, it's done. And we start a new season, so pretty excited.
Right. I mean, you've seen a lot of people. I mean, not even in baseball, but as soon as you get into a tournament, you can make a run. It doesn't really matter all that much where you're seated. Yeah, you might get screwed by playing a good team first, but if you're gonna win it, you're gonna have to beat them anyway. So, is the seeding done yet? Do we know what seed you guys are yet?
Yeah, 6th seed, and then we play Iowa, game 1.
Well, what's Iowa? Is that the 3 then?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's not too bad. That's doable. So what's Iowa's like? What's the biggest challenge for you guys? Is Iowa? Is it their pitching? Do they hit? What's the read on Iowa?
Yeah, they have some pretty electric arms. Especially their one starter I know is super talented. I think we're probably more than likely facing him. But they're just a really well-coached team. Every year in and year out, they just produce, and they're so consistent. And that's kind of their rep. They're always consistent. They play the game super hard and competitive and clean. But this year, they have some talented arms up front that we're gonna have to jump on.
Makes sense. So now we're kind of done with the regular season, right? Obviously not finished up. You guys have playoff hopes, but how would you grade your guys' season, both as a team and then personally? I mean, you can give it a letter grade, but explain a little bit. How you think you guys did.
I'm really proud of our team because we started off and we kind of didn't really know our identity quite yet. It was a struggle kind of playing collectively. And then once we started to kind of figure it out and learn how to play with each other as a really young team, that's kind of I feel the stepping stone that you have to take in order to become a next level kind of program. And we started to do that, I'd say midway through the year. We were 2-8. No, 2-7. Something like that in the Big Ten, and then we just said, relax, have fun, and just let the cards fall where they may, and just have fun and have fun playing with each other. And once we started doing that, that's when you started to see, the wins kind of start to roll through, especially in the Big Ten. Because once you play a Big Ten team, it's almost like another level of like focus that it takes. And that kind of came naturally. So when we were having fun and then like with the focus too, that's when we started to see the big wins. So I'm proud of where we came, especially starting off so slow. And then me personally, I just kind of stayed the course. I had a pretty good year like from the start, and I just kind of let the momentum keep building. But I didn't try to let anything, get too big. I had the same approach every day, knowing that baseball is an unpredictable game and you can't control the ball like after you hit it. So just keep, hitting the ball hard, and if it falls, it falls. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You can't control that. So that was kind of my approach all year.
Absolutely. Now, Matt, obviously you are an elite catcher. Definitely, we know how important that pitcher-catcher relationship is. So who's the best, the nastiest pitcher that you've ever caught for?
Ooh. There's a few. One that like really pops into my head is Joe Rock. I played with him like when we were really young, and then
was that a Diamond Dogs teammate there?
No, so he played on the North Stars with us back in like.
Oh
wow!
That was
My God, what is that? 11, 12U? My God!
Yeah, but when we played with him, like he was like a good pitcher. We were like young, whatever, and then we stopped playing with each other, and then we actually during the COVID summer there was a league of like 4 teams, Pittsburgh area kids, and I caught him there too, and he was just so electric. It was crazy. He ended up getting picked up in the second round by the Rockies.
Wow.
And lefty, kind of like a Chris Sale type lefty. He was like 95, 96 with just like a put away slider.
Oh
just
my God.
Disgusting. And I remember it was a lot of fun catching him. It was challenging, but it was fun.
Yeah. So obviously you got guys like that now. Flip the script a little bit. Any days where, you're back, you're catching the pregame bullpen, you're getting fastballs spiked in the dirt in front of you. It's about to be a war when you go out there for the next 7 innings. What do you do? What are some of the smaller things that you do within that pitcher-catcher battery to help kind of rein him in and get him ready to go for the day?
Yeah, no, everybody has those days, and even like catchers have those days where they just like you feel like you don't have it. You feel like your body's kind of tight, you're moving kind of slow, but I think it's just like the trust that you have in each other, and just when you don't have your stuff, you can always compete. You can win games without having your stuff as long as you go and you fill up the zone and you every pitch that you throw is with conviction. Then you can still get outs. So I think just doubling down on that and helping the pitcher realize that, and you also have to know your pitchers. Like every single dude's different. Everybody clicks differently. You can go out and get on somebody, and another dude you kind of have to take the foot off the gas a little bit and just let them like figure it out themselves. So kind of figuring that out, like what clicks for which person and how can you effectively communicate with everybody.
Right. You got to know your pitcher. So as a team, I couldn't help but notice you guys are towards the bottom of the Big Ten in defense right now. But I personally, when I watch you guys and when I look at who you have individually, I see like a ton of talent. So like, what have been some of the issues? Like, how do you kind of clean that up? Because I don't think the stats are indicative of the amount of talent that you guys have on that team, especially defensively.
Yeah, that's something that has kind of plagued us the past couple of years. I think, just locking it in certain situations, just knowing that expecting the ball every single play, making sure that the errors are physical, because that happens to everybody, and it's more of a mindset. And when you kind of lose that mindset, that's when it's easy to make some small mental errors that come across as physical, but may actually just be mental. We have so much talent, especially up the middle, with our middle infield, or just like our infield in general. We played a pretty tough like field. In terms of, everybody's used to having turf, especially up north in the Big Ten. So playing on an all natural field, I think we've really stepped up our defense this year, but there's always room to improve. And I think that going into the tournament in terms of our defense, it's just a mindset. you know, when the ball comes to you, like, I'm going to make this play for our pitcher. I'm going to do this. I think that's what we need to have going forward.
Right, right. All right, Matt. Enough of this. The normal, generic, interview questions. Why? We're getting into it now. Why are you the best catcher in the country? Period. What is it about you? Because you definitely are, and I'm not taking any. I'm not listening to any argument against it. So, I mean, why are you that guy? Like, what is it about you? Obviously, like the hitting is your strength, but what's the it factor? What separates you from everybody else?
You know what? I think that I bring another level in terms of the kind of teammate that I am. I take a lot of pride in that. I want to be able to make a team better off the field too, and in the clubhouse, and treat everybody like the same. That's something I take a lot of pride in. On the field, I think that I can make plays that a lot of people can't at the catcher position. I kind of pride myself on being like an athlete behind the plate, and kind of expanding the position. When you think about like blocking, throwing, receiving, you can't be thinking about that stuff. So whenever you just focus on, the other stuff that goes on in the position, I think it allows me to make some of the other athletic plays that I have. I think that's what separates me as a catcher. I think offensively, it's just the consistency that you're going to get. I take a lot of pride in my preparation and how hard I've worked, and that's not going to stop. It's going to only get better. I only have room to grow. And I think I can start to see some of the numbers that I've already produced even jump up more, especially the power numbers.
So you said preparation. I know a lot of like football players will watch film. Do you guys watch film? What is the preparation? Is it like a notebook of notes? Like what is your preparation? You say going to the Big Ten tournament, right? You have Iowa. You're facing the nasty lefty first or whoever they're throwing. What's your preparation like? Are you going back to watch? Oh, what does he like to throw on 1-2? What does he throw when he's ahead 3-1? So I can do some damage. Like what am I expecting? What does your preparation entail?
Yeah, there's video like streams that we have, where we can watch pretty much every single outing that the guy that we're going to face has had.
That's sweet.
And it's more of just, and we also have such a great support system in our coaching staff for guys that make scouting reports. We have tendencies for almost like every count, runners in scoring positions, heat zones, all this. So if you want any piece of information, like you're going to get it, whatever clicks for you as a hitter. You don't have to go, you can go look at nothing and just go up to the plate and be like, yeah, I'm just going to adjust. But if you're a guy who likes to sit on certain things, like that information's got to be available. And for me catching too, I study all the hitters. Me and our pitching coach usually sit down, and our catching coach sit down, watch their hitters, just pick up on their swings, what they like to do. Like, are they early action guys? Can they run? Do they bunt? We have all that information down, and it's just something that you need to do because like at this level, that stuff wins games, knowing who you're playing and knowing how to beat them and in different ways that you can beat them. But that also, a big part of that is doing that kind of homework, but also being able to adjust in game. So if we see something on video, say he stands far away from the plate, and then all of a sudden his toes are on the line and he's really like working hard to cover the outer half, that's something you got to adjust to as well. So there's a lot that goes into it, but there's definitely a lot of homework. It's a big part of the game that like most people don't see, but it's huge.
Yeah, you talk about how much information there is, and obviously the catcher position is a very cerebral position, right? You have to run the entire defense. And trust me, I've seen the pictures. I've seen the wristband, the play call wristband that you wear.
It's huge.
Looks confusing, right? I mean, I did my brief little bit of catching there throughout high school, and we ran some like pump systems, some upper level stuff. But then I look at that, and I'm like, whew. I mean, like, what's it like prepping for a game and just going through the whole thing? Are you making changes yourself throughout the game to the defense? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. We have a card for pitches so that we don't do sign systems on second anymore. because we felt that as a pitching staff, our pace wasn't great last year. So with runners on second, we're using those cards so that the pitchers can get the pitches and just go and not have to worry about like controlling the runners while also looking and trying to like decipher whatever sign system you're using. I think it's made a difference. That's kind of what that card is. But yeah, there's a lot of in-game stuff that happens, and there's a lot of different technology things that we have. Like I have the earpiece that my coach can, talk to me like using.
That's so cool.
Awesome.
I get more questions about that than I think the actual games usually.
I didn't even think to ask that. So, I mean, now that you bring it up, like, does he like what does he even say to you? Is it just only the pitches, or is he talking like tendencies? Like, what is he actually talking into the earpiece?
Usually just pitches, like pitch recommendations. We usually like work back and forth with it. It's not like we have a pretty good relationship where he trusts me to, if I see something, I'm going to call. I usually call most of the games, but he gives me, a lot of freedom to make adjustments too. But also like if we're putting on a bunt play, he doesn't have to come out of the dugout and like tell me. He could just like say like, hey, we're doing this, like put it on. And then it just speeds things up. It's nothing like, he's not giving me like secret info. It's nothing too crazy. It's more just like for the flow of the game.
Calling his own games. That's
good Lord, I had no idea you called.
Look at that.
Matt, when's the last time you have went out, dude? I mean, so first of all, you have your degree, your major, and you're like almost a 4.0 student, and then you study for hitting, and then you study for every single pitcher and every tendency of every hitter that you're going to face.
Yep.
And then you're calling your own games. Dude, do you ever like sleep? Like what I mean, what is your schedule like, man?
It's a lot easier with school being out. Yeah, I mean it's a couple days before the game. It's not like 5 hours of like it. You break it up. So like throughout the week, it's nothing, but it's important stuff. So we do spend a lot of time on it. We usually just carve it in before or after practice. But yeah, I get my sleep. That's a priority.
Absolutely. So, I know a lot of people like the whole feel of the game thing, right? And look good, feel good, play good, right? That thing. So like throwing BP, right? I threw BP to you at one point. And I think in high school, you had hit 9 home runs in a row. I believe that's the number. It was before a game, right? So for you, that feel of seeing the ball leave the yard that many times in a row, like, does that translate to a good game, or does the quality of BP like not really matter? Because I know a lot of people, like especially basketball players, you talk to them, they're like, "Oh, I have better games like when I have a bad shoot around." Like, what's your feel about a good round of BP, and does it translate to a good game?
That's funny that you bring that up, because there's kind of like, I give myself a hard time because if you came and watched me take BP, you would probably think I sucked. I like in high school, I would go out there and it was turn and burn time. Like it was time to let a couple eat, impress some people, and get it over the fence. But I've really like changed my approach during batting practice to more, I just want to feel the barrel. Like I want to feel where my swing and my hands are at that day. My last round, maybe my last 2 rounds are like a let it eat round where I'm going up there and I'm going 100 and I'm seeing like where I'm at that day. But there's a lot of times where my BP is atrocious, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, because at that point I know where I'm at and I can make the adjustments from there. So I wouldn't say that if I have a bad BP, it's going to translate to a good game, or if I have good BP, it's going to be like a bad game. It's nothing like that. But it's important to me just because it gives me like a feel.
Absolutely. So, Matt, obviously, you've been talking about approach a lot. So, I just want to talk about, like, does the swing change, the intent behind a swing change based on the count? When the count starts to differ, like 3-1, are you thinking, you know what, I'm going to try to put everything I got into the swing, try to see, if I can get some legs on this ball, and then, you get the count obviously down to like a 2-2, a 3-2, you're obviously being a little more protective, but still selecting the pitch that you want. Just talk about that for a little bit, and does the swing change from count to count?
Certain situations, yeah, cause like if it's a 2-0 count and, you know, the guy throws 95% fastballs and 2-0 counts, like, yeah, you can sit on it and try to let one go. But I wouldn't say that my swing changes. I'd say just like my zone changes a little bit. It opens up a little bit. Because my swing is pretty repeatable. So I don't feel that I necessarily need to change it in certain counts, because I think I can do damage on a bunch of different pitches. So, yeah, I wouldn't say that my swing changes. I try to keep the same bat speed on everything. Try to get my barrel out on everything. It doesn't matter if it's 0-2 or 3-0. It's usually the same.
Right. Okay. Flipping back to defensive, real quick. So 2 schools of pitch receiving. There's the old school and the new school, right? Old school is the classic. Let's stick it. Let the umpire decide, right? New school, a little more glove movement. You're kind of guiding the glove through the baseball and trying to yank it back to that corner. What would you say your style is? Because in my experience, and for most of the people, most of the catchers that I've seen, you're one of the better pitch receivers, at least at a Division I level that I've seen. So what would you say your style is in terms of old school and new school?
I'd say it's like a hybrid.
Yeah.
Honestly, sometimes it depends on the umpire. Some guys are really strict. Like, if they see glove movement, they won't call it. So that's like building relationships with umpires is big. Just kind of figuring out like what's working that day. If the new school style, which is something that I train, I'd say I'm more like new school in terms of my training and like my practice and stuff like that. But depending on like what's working that day for getting the strikes, that can change. But yeah, I'd say I like to get under the ball, get through it. I can stick it, and I think it's important to stick it. I think getting under the ball and sticking it works better than like getting beat and then just bringing it back up, like no matter the situation.
Right. So I mean, it's probably easier also to train new school. Old school, I mean, look, if you have the skill, you can stick it, right? That's not that much of an issue. That kind of makes sense, training new school, and then if you have to, kind of flip to the old school depending on the umpire. But so I remember we were texting the other day. You mentioned when you're hot, like when you're in the zone, right? It's not as much as I'm not like seeing it that much better. It's more like I just have the confidence that when it is in the zone, that I'm gonna absolutely hammer it. And knowing that you're better than them when you're walking into the box, which increases their risk to throw a mistake. So can you dive into how it feels? Because I don't think I've ever had 26 hits in a season, let alone a 26 game hitting streak. So I mean, like, what does it feel like knowing you're walking in? You're like, I'm significantly better than this guy. I know I'm going to get a hit. Let's go do it.
Yeah. It's just confidence that you've built over like time of knowing that you've done it before. And yeah, because if you think about it, like, people think there's a lot of pressure. You come up with the bases loaded and like 1 out and like you need to get this run in, or like you need to start a rally. But if you think about it, like say I'm coming up right after like a 2-run inning from the other team, every team wants a shutdown inning. So that pitcher also has a lot of pressure to get a shutdown. So there's a lot of pressure there's probably more pressure on him to get me out than there's pressure on me to get a hit. And I like to think like that. And that just gives me confidence knowing that when I'm in the zone, I'm really dangerous. And that, like you said, like I said earlier, that increases their chance of making a mistake. So that's just kind of a mindset that I have. It may or may not be true, but if you think like it, then it probably works.
Hey, I mean, it seems like it's working, so we'll say that it's true. And that makes sense, right? Being aggressive, you always want to be aggressive, and when you're confident, the aggression just turns into just hits. I mean, just slugging. Yeah. I mean, I think your slugging percentage 681. What was that? That is, let's see, fifth in the Big Ten. And I mean, that's insane. Does that come down to the intent on your swing, right? Where you're like, oh, I'm gap to gap here, I'm doing damage, right? 3-1, I'm doing damage.
Yes and no. I think that if you stick to your approach and you have, you know, your swing, like if you get your swing on plane and you know that you can repeat it, that's when you see the power numbers jump. I've always tried to like hit the, like, I've always tried to like backspin like a low line drive. That's kind of always like what I'm trying to do. I never have the intent of like let's lift. I know that's kind of like a big, rave these days. I think that I lift and I get the most, backspun balls that leave the yard when I'm not like necessarily trying to do it. I'm just trying to like hit a barrel back at somebody. It's just like something that works for me. And some people may think, oh, if I lift here, like, and it works, but that's just not kind of how my swing, that's just like not what my mental approach is. And I've just kind of forced my swing to like work like that.
Right. What's the so now that you're in college, right? First of all, I got a couple questions.
Mm-hmm.
So now that you're in college, right? Maybe not might be the most like hype sport, right? You're not getting thousands of people at these games, right?
Yeah.
We've played some pretty insane high school baseball games, and your travel baseball. I mean, you went to Perfect Game. Those are some pretty hype games. Would any of those even compare, like quote unquote hype wise, to like some of these Big Ten games or even some of the out of conference games against bigger schools?
No.
No, it's a different animal.
Especially not the travel ones. The travel ones are just like, they're loose and laid back. The high school, now, Timmy, we had some pretty crazy matchups against like NA.
Right. Like at NA, nighttime, Partridge, your teammate now, like that was, there was probably over 1,000 people there.
Yeah. And that's fun. Like, that's just like fun because of like where you're at, like at that time. Like for us, that was like the biggest thing in the world.
Right.
But if you like realistically put it like, and you compare it to like where like I'm at now, just like a midweek game at West Virginia a few weeks ago, they pulled in like, geez, they had a ton of people there.
Wow.
And it was fun. And you're getting chirped and they're saying some pretty like,
some pretty not good,
horrific things.
And you're just like, oh my goodness. But yeah, I wouldn't say, I just say the atmosphere, it's pretty different.
So,
Ohio State was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
sweet.
Maryland's fun. Maryland, I think they had the largest crowd against us in their history or something like that.
Good Lord.
And then UVA was pretty wild too. And that one hurt because we got washed. But yeah, some of these crowds, and we've had some really good ones too. When we played Michigan State, and who was the other team before that? The team before at home. I think it was Michigan State. We had like a Little League day, and there's like every Little League team in the area, all their parents, and then it was just a beautiful Saturday. And we had a bunch of students too. It was probably the biggest crowd I've ever had at Penn State. And we ended up winning that game, and it was so much fun.
Well, you talk about those big games and all the fans that you've played for. So if you had to pick one, what's the favorite, best baseball game you've ever played in?
Oh, PNC last week.
Yeah.
To play at my like hometown field in front of like all of my friends and family that came, and then to do what we did in the last inning against,
Yeah, would you put up like 13 runs or something like that?
14.
Oh my God.
And it was very rewarding. It was pretty unbelievable. But that whole experience for me was crazy. My first at bat, I was shaking in my boots. It felt like it was my first ever college AB walking up there. It was pretty surreal.
Got the whole skyline in the background, everything.
Oh yeah, it's pretty cool from down there. When you look up and see like the stadium and like how high it goes, I'm like, oh my God.
So you talk
cool
about keeping your swing the same, but I mean, looking out at that skyline, how do you not want to drop the shoulder and try to jack one into the river? Like, I mean, did you have to kind of suppress that for a second?
Yeah, a little bit like in the dugout, because that always creeps in. You're like, oh, hitting a home run at PNC Park, like,
right.
That would be cool. But once I get into the box,
it's all
that
business.
Kind of off. Yeah, it kind of turns off, and it's just like you're just locked in on you versus him.
Right. So you mentioned that it's kind of fun almost going on the road in those big stadiums. I remember one game in high school I remember Josh Johnson, JJ, was getting chirped by these Butler parents. He proceeded to hit a ball. That had to be like 450. You remember that to right center field?
Yes.
I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
But so you personally, because clearly JJ fed off it. Do you personally like feed off of like the negative energy per se from the opposing fans?
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. It's hard not to. I got chirped pretty hard my first at bat at Ohio State, and it was kind of a similar situation. I hit a home run, and it's just kind of it's kind of fun just to hear like the energy kind of deflate,
Right?
and knowing that like you guys it just like totally shifted, and like that's huge, especially in this game. Momentum and energy play such a huge factor, and when you can take that away from the jump, that can be a game changer.
Matt, a couple more questions. We really appreciate your time, and I don't want to keep you too long. But so, where is a place that you haven't played? So, you mean PNC? It was probably PNC before, but what's a place you haven't played that you'd love to play? I mean, it could be big league, even in the college, like a stadium that you really want to play in.
Say for big league, I always thought like Fenway and Wrigley would be cool.
Right.
College, Mississippi State. I was talking to JJ. He said that place was nuts.
Oh, I believe it.
Ole Miss. Some of just like those big schools. And then playing in Nashville too would be pretty cool. Playing at the Hawk.
Right.
That'd be a fun time, especially if I'm playing, Troy or something, playing one of my buddies.
Right. That'd be a good time. So, okay, 2 more questions. Who's got the most swag on the Penn State baseball team?
Ooh.
I got to know. Oh, well, first of all, we'll go 2-part. On the field drip, on the field swag, and then off the field.
There's a couple.
Because someone that comes to my mind is Tyson Cooper on the field. He's got a little bit of the wrist tape, got the arm sleeve, but it's a little. Well, I guess it's not minimal because he's got
subtle.
some stuff. It's subtle, and he's
right?
got the drip.
Yeah. Some guy who's not subtle and just absolutely swags out is Taven Kelly.
Oh yeah.
Because he's got the arm sleeve tattoo. He has the wrist tape. He's got the sunglasses and the chains and the earrings. A lot of swag. Off the field, that's where it gets tough because there's not many.
No drip on the team?
No, we're a very, very basic team when it comes to our attire. Joe Nastasi has good outfits. Taven off the field, pretty good too.
Where do you rank yourself? You gonna give yourself any credit? Are you at least top 5? I remember you used to whip out some outfits back in the day.
Yeah, no. In high school, I was an awesome dressed person. I think I was in like top 5 senior superlative best dressed.
For best dressed. I think you were.
Yeah. Since then, it's gone downhill severely.
A lot of sweatpants and stuff.
A ton. I rotate sweatpants that I wear to class every day, and then I just wear like a hoodie, and it's none of my own clothes. It's the like Penn State ones that they give you.
Right.
Gets the job done. Though.
It really does. I'd say I'm middle of the pack off the field. On the field, it depends on how I'm feeling. Some days I look all right. Some days, no. There's one game this year I wore high pants. Ooh. And I got a lot of crap for it because it just
couldn't pull it off.
They said high pants Woody has gets like +5 speed.
Oh, there you go. Well, and when you go no batting gloves, it's almost intimidating. Do you still every now and then do no batting gloves? Because I see you kind of alternate.
Yeah. Last time I didn't wear batting gloves was the day that I lost my hit streak. So kind of bad mojo. And Josh Spiegel came up to me and he goes, "You're not wearing BGs today?" And I was like, "Nah, like just not feeling it. I don't know. It just kind of feels good. No BGs today." And he's like, "All right, man." He's like, "Pretty sure all your hits that you've gotten in the streak have been with BGs." And I was like, "Nah, I'm not superstitious like that." And then it happened. And I was like, okay, now I am superstitious about it.
So you're wearing batting gloves from now on?
Probably.
All right. Yeah, one last question. What's your walk-up song?
I've had a couple. I started the year with Black Dog by Led Zeppelin, and that was a good one. But then, I just didn't really feel it anymore, so I changed to No Sucker by Lil Baby.
Well, there you go.
That one gets me fired up.
Oh, I love it, Matt. We really appreciate the time that you gave us. I mean, I think we're 30, almost 45 minutes, something like that.
There.
So we really appreciate you taking the extra time to kind of sit down, do a little bit more of a long form here on Zoom with us.
Yeah, boys, it was fun. Thank you for doing it.
Absolutely, Matt. We really appreciate you. Hey, good luck in the Big Ten tournament. Beat Iowa, advance. Let's see what you can do. You know what I mean? Maybe if you can win it, get into the regionals, get into the whole tournament. Yeah.
That's the goal right there.
There you go, buddy. Hey, good luck.
Focus right there. Thanks, boys.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll see you, man.
Yep.